Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Noonan, and I'm the new superintendent here in the City of Falls Church, and it's my 5th week on the job, so I appreciate your patience, but I want to say just from the very beginning that in my past school divisions that I've had an opportunity to attend the retiree ceremony. It's one of the most fun evenings of the year to really be able to celebrate the work of the folks that have put in so much time and effort on behalf of our students. I have only recently met these retirees, and many of you anyway, not all of you, and look forward tonight to meeting the rest of you. So tonight, FCCPS has 12 retirees, and this year, 8 of those retirees are here with family and friends, so thank you very much for being here. Welcome to all of you. Among all of you, for reasons that Falls Church City is one of the finest systems in the world, and it's because of the work that you all have done here. Before we get started, there are a few folks that we want to recognize who made tonight's evening possible. The first is I'd like to thank Richard Kane and his staff for food services. Richard, thank you very much wherever you are. We'd like to thank FCC TV for videotaping this evening's ceremony. Thank you very much for being here. We have amazing custodians that have been able to set up for us and are going to clean up afterwards, so thank you all to our custodial staff. We also have a couple of special guests that are here. The first is Mary Ellen Shaw. Mary Ellen was the superintendent here in Falls Church City. Welcome, Mary Ellen. And we also have Lois Berlin. Lois Berlin is here this evening as well. Thank you, Lois. We also have others that are here that we'd like to recognize tonight, and that is former FCCPS retirees. And there are many of you from all 4 of our schools. So if you would just take a second and stand if you're a recently retired or a retiree from our system, we'd like to recognize you as well. They all look younger than us. How does that work? Anyway, I'm very pleased to be here and excited to celebrate with you tonight. And as we get started, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Lisa High, who is our assistant superintendent, to recognize those who have retired during the past year but aren't here tonight. So with that, Lisa, I will turn it over to you. Welcome.
Good evening. This year we're saying goodbye to some treasured longtime employees. I'm honored to have been able to work with each of you. You're local celebrities, and our schools are better because of you. The magic that you've created for our students each and every day. We are lucky that you've shared your educational practice with so many of us over the years. There are 4 people who are unable to be here tonight, and before we go any further, I'd like to recognize each one of them. The first is Kathy Finney. Kathy served as a bus driver, making sure our children got to school safely every day. Rick Jowers. Rick Jowers took FCCPS technology to the next level. He started out as a computer technician, handling dark ages IT needs, a handful of computers in each school, a few programs, and some infrastructure. In December, when he retired as the chief technology director, he was responsible for thousands of devices, miles of cable, and wireless services. LeBrian Thomas. He took care of our building maintenance at MEH from the time it opened. He was also a longtime coach for the girls' basketball team. Under his leadership, the girls won 3 state championships. The last person we'll recognize is Diane Zhang. Diane has been at TJ for 6 years, capping off her 45 years of teaching career as a technology instructor. Diane presided over a rapid expansion of technology at TJ, and she helps many teachers adapt to the new ways of teaching. Please congratulate Peter.
Now for tonight's 8 honorees. We've invited special colleagues and family members who will tell us about these individuals, and as this happens tonight, I'm looking forward to learning more about you. First up are several Mount Daniel faculty to tell us about the multi-talented paraprofessional Diana Friedenberg, who is the only person retiring from Mount Daniel this year. And here is Erin Kelly to get us started. Principal Kelly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Noonan. We are here to talk about Diana Fredenberg, and I know we look a little relaxed already, but Miss Fredenberg loves the beach, so we are very excited to help her start kicking off her retirement celebration. So Diana has been an asset to the students and the staff at Mount Daniel for far longer than my tenure at the school. During my past 3 years there, I've seen her make excellent connections with the students and the families with which she works, be a wealth of knowledge in the area of reading instruction, and serve as a leader in the area of fine arts. She often sometimes wears our Danny costume for us. So Danny has decided to come and help us celebrate with her to show our gratitude for her for always doing that. Diana, you are welcome to come back and do that anytime you wish. I often go to her to work with our most challenging students because I know she will make a connection with those students and help them to be successful. Her passion, creativity, and dedication will be greatly missed. However, I'm excited to help her welcome the next chapter of her life. Now, we'll hear from some of the staff members who've worked the most closely with Diana over the years: Ingrid Schoenberg and Kevin O'Dowd from the Special Education Department, and Jan Garrett from the Art Department. Ingrid?
Hi, Diana. First of all, I have a very special message for you from our good friend Anne Delahanty. And she writes, "Dear Diana, my love and heartfelt congratulations on your retirement. In our years together at Mount Daniel, you were a gift to me and to all of our special education students. My wish for you is that all the caring and creativity that you have shown will bring you joy in the years to come. Hoping to see you soon in Apex, North Carolina. Lots of love, Anne." Diane has been such a dedicated professional working with the special education population at Mount Daniel for 20 years. She devotes herself to each child with energy and passion. Diana goes above and beyond the call of duty. She has not only participated in in-service training and development, but has taken it upon herself to pursue opportunities outside of school to develop her knowledge and skills. She does research to find the best ways to meet the individual needs of each student and their style of learning. She is trained in Read Well and has creative ideas for differentiation and student engagement. She is a team player who supports each member of the SPED team in their efforts to meet education goals. This could be reinforcing the goals of the speech therapist, occupational therapist, and special education teacher. We will miss so many things about her. Diana's creativity abounds, not only in her fashion, but in her artistic flair. In particular, I will miss the holiday outfits, the fantastic fashions, and someone older to look up to. Here's to you, girl. Drink a pina colada at the beach.
It has been my pleasure to work with Diana since she started at Mount Daniel. Each spring for the past 3 years, we've been in charge of doing a display case when the whole school and families read and discuss a beloved children's book. Diana is a photographer, and she uses her photographer's eye to create a wonderful, eye-catching display, which is enjoyed by the students and teachers. Her attention to detail is incredible. She always has many ideas, and the only hard part is choosing which one to use. Diana, I hope you enjoy your retirement, whether you're watching a mouse riding a motorcycle, reading in Gooseberry Park, or looking at a group of penguins waddling down a city street. And if you are doing any of these things, it's a hobby, but good luck and God bless.
Hi, Diana. So I first met Diana on Read Across America Day 12 years ago. She was a reader in room 1, and I just remember I was laughing so hard. I think I was the only one laughing. The kids were kind of clueless. She read the Petite Rouge Riding Hood, the version of Little Red Riding Hood, the Cajun dialect and the Southern touches. I really enjoyed it, and I thought, she's somebody special. She's got some cool books up her sleeve. She loves children's books. She's even got some ideas to write some, so I'm hoping in her retirement she will make that happen. The next time I encountered Diana, I was walking in the hall and I noticed this beautiful exhibit of some photographs from the National Gallery, the National Cathedral, that the students would take field trips to. And I kept saying, who did that? Where did those come from? And so, of course, I was pointed to Diana. And I kept asking her, do you sell your photos? You know, I would like to buy one of those. Do you ever sell them? So finally, she sold me one. I still enjoy the rose window photograph in my home today. So she's kind of known as our school photographer. She's always got 1 or 2 cameras wrapped around her neck. She takes pictures at all of our special occasions, field trips, musicals, showers, assemblies. She shares her photos on Facebook of the beach and of her family. And she's got a great eye for composition, so I hope she continues that. Our next relationship was in the art room. Diana's a special ed parent, so she comes to art with her students. Her method is to actually participate in the art activities. She's actually a very gifted artist, and so she models the art techniques for her students. We got to talking, and so I always started sharing lessons with her to make sure we were on the right track and so that her students could be successful. And then pretty much I started running everything by her. So we started having lunch together and everything. I had to see what she thought, see what her ideas were. We started taking museum outings and going on STEAM activities. We did the stage decorations together, craft shows, isogenics, cabbie, bridal, baby showers. We became grandparents together, and just the everyday ups and downs of being a teacher. Okay, Danny, I need your help. So, I'll miss you. I hope my wish for you is that you go to the beach more often, you continue to take lots of photos, create more of your own art, enjoy being a grandmother to Ellie and Henry, write those children's books, and continue to be that special person that we all fell in love with at Mount Daniel.
Congratulations to Mrs. Fredenberg.
Okay, as everybody at Mount Daniel knows, I'm more can talk to a 5 or 6 year old than this. But, and they also know that I'm not a morning person because I'm a night owl. And one of my nemesis is Jimmy Fallon, of which I have to get through the monologue and then I can't get up in the morning. So in the words of Jimmy Fallon, he plays a game called Pros and Cons. So I'm going to do some retirement pros and cons. Pro, no fighting traffic. Con, not socializing on the shuttle. Socializing on the shuttle is a pro. Con is not worrying about how many bags you can get on the shuttle. Pro, taking a long lunch as you want, not eating with Jan, Estrella, and Jenny is a con. 4 is sleeping in as a pro, but then missing all the smiling faces of the little guys as they come in and all my colleagues. And retirement will be fun is a pro, but missing all of you is a con.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. I'm Liz Germer. I'm the Director of Special Education and Student Services and Early Learning, and I am here today to talk about a very special person, Lynn Varshnaya, one of our special education teachers. So today, I'm really paying tribute to Lynn. She is one of our most talented special education teachers. And in order to tell you a little bit about her, we're going to talk about her road to retirement and highlight some of the successes and experiences that she's had here with us. The road to retirement provides an opportunity to reflect on the accomplishments of our colleagues, to wish them well on the journey ahead. As we celebrate with Lynn, we also know that we're losing a very talented teacher and friend who has touched the lives of many staff and many students. I'm honored to be here today to recognize Lynn for the road she has traveled here in Falls Church City. So we're going to use ROAD as our acronym and go to R. R is for research. Lynn is known for her focus on using research to make the best decisions for curriculum, instructional materials, and best practices. Lynn has been a CERT, a curriculum instructional resource teacher, both at the middle school and at the elementary school. Lynn was a distinguished scholar, and she focused her study on universal design for learning, which focuses on ways to differentiate instruction and assessment for all learners. Through her leadership, Falls Church City Public Schools has implemented research-based programs for students with disabilities with outstanding results. As an instructional leader, she's worked tirelessly to help middle and elementary school students with disabilities achieve their potential. Oh, this is Lynn's closet. You can tell she has a fabulous sense of style. We share, I don't know if I have as good a sense of style, but we definitely share an interest in fashion. But O is for organization. Lynn is exceptionally well organized. When Lynn moved from MEH to TJ, she took on the responsibility of team leader, even though it was her first year in the school. Her organizational skills and strong knowledge base allowed her to lead the team in an effective and an efficient manner. She's proficient at using systems and tools to increase efficiency, organization, and ultimately positive outcomes for the staff and for the students. In her own teaching, Lynn had always really strong lesson plans that were differentiated for each student. It wasn't unusual to walk in her resource room and see 8 students doing 5 different things with 3 different paraprofessionals, all being maintained in the lessons and engaged. A. A is for autism. Lynn pursued an advanced autism certificate. She has led professional development activities here on Workshop Wednesdays. She's created Schoology pages on autism. She's gifted at teaching students with autism who are accessing the general curriculum but just need a differentiated approach. Her systematic, explicit instructional style and use of evidence-based strategies for students have resulted in student success. Lynn was ahead of the curve, anticipating the need for additional expertise in autism, and as the CERT helped her colleagues learn more about this disability and ways to teach them. D. D is for Class Dojo. For those of you who know what that is, Lynn was an instructional leader in Falls Church in many ways, and one specific example of her leadership was in her use and really her introduction of Class Dojo in the division. It's a classroom-wide system for reinforcing expected behaviors and helping students improve self-monitoring skills. Lynn used the system before we were really initiating positive behavioral instructional supports in the division, and as such was an innovative leader. Her classroom expectations were always very clear and specific. She knew the importance of to catch 'em being good and applied systematic reinforcement and visuals to help her students learn important skills. So as we travel the road to the future, Lynn, we hope the road ahead brings you beautiful adventures at the beach, in the sun, with a lot of fashion. We wish you all the best, and you will be missed by all. I have no doubt that you will continue to impact the lives of future generations in some way. Thank you for all you've done for our students and for me personally. We've been through a lot of experiences together, and you've always handled them professionally, and that will serve you well as you move forward in whatever you choose to do and pursue in the future. You're a fantastic teacher and colleague. Miss V, we here at Falls Church City Public Schools are very, very thankful for your service. I'm going to ask you to come up and receive your gift.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pat Thomas, and I have the honor and privilege to introduce our next retiree, my mother, Sita Chancemat. My mother's worked for the Falls Church City Public Schools for 26 years, and even though she did not have the best of job, she was one of the most dedicated employees that I know. She had 4 children that she raised and had to clean up after every single day, and then came to work and cleaned up after everyone else. But she did it with a positive attitude, and she never complained about it. My mother has shown me that no matter what job you have, you do the best of your abilities and you will succeed in life. She would always say, nothing is free in life, and you have to work hard for what you want. My mother and I would count down. I remember from the beginning of the year, we would count down, how many more days do you have left until you retire? So Mom, you have 16 more days left until you retire. And then officially you have nothing else to do. But knowing you, I know you'll keep yourself busy. You've worked hard your whole entire life, and you deserve this break. Enjoy this new journey of your life and cherish every moment of it. Don't forget to have fun. And on behalf of our family, we are so proud of you and we love you. Congratulations on your retirement. And also I have put together a special presentation for you. So Mary Beth, if you could play the video. Come on up, Mama.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Nissen. Hey, Bob. 4 years ago, I was up here as a freshly minted retiree. And tonight, I'm glad to be back here to talk to you about my former coworker and colleague, Gabriel Fernandez, better known as Gabe. Gabe's parents came here from Cuba with the hope of making a better life for themselves and their children. And this country is a better place for it, for they gave us Gabe. I met Gabe back in '95 at his interview in the school board office. We learned a lot about him, his background, his employment history, all the way back to his paper route as a young teenager. Now, you may not think a paper route is relevant experience, but it's hard work. You get up early every morning, and you go to work independently. It's a job you probably wouldn't take if you had a decent allowance. But Gabe did it for years, and he built a strong work ethic early in life. Later on, he got big boy jobs, worked on large boilers and big facilities, and got a lot of experience relevant to our job opening. I can't remember if we offered him the job right then and there or if it was soon thereafter. But I clearly remember that Gabe called me up at home that night. And he wanted to make sure that I understood there was an aspect of the job where he just didn't have a lot of experience. Today, we would call that an act of full disclosure. But at the time, I didn't quite know what to make of it, but I knew I didn't want to lose him, so I convinced him that it didn't matter. And you can be assured that he went on to master that aspect of the job as well as many other technical skills, too numerous to mention. And it's with the perspective of the 22 years between that night and now that with that phone call, he was presenting a dominant trait of his character, and that's honesty. That's right. History gave us Honest Abe, but his parents gave us Honest Gabe. Another interesting fact about Gabe, he's a real history buff. He's a World War II reenactor. I remember his first January with us. We had a 3-day snowstorm. It left 17 inches on the ground, and Gabe came to work the next morning decked out in vintage military surplus garb that was suited for the weather. We ran the snowblowers all day long. And at the end of that day, I was cold, wet, tired, and ready for some chocolate. But Gabe, on the other hand, was ready for a photo op. Look at that classic pose. He was no doubt inspired by some victorious champion of days gone by. Gabe would advance in the ranks of the mechanized troops. He started running the snowplow truck. Wow, he really took to that job. Let's just say his exuberance was on display. More than once I jumped back on the curb as Gabe zipped by in the truck, snow flying off the pavement and him just grinning, happy to be making it happen. Now, you don't just happen to get a technical skill set like Gabe has developed without some crying time, some frustration with the circumstances. And sometimes he would get so frustrated he would have to vent. Yes, it's true that Honest Abe has been known to kick trash cans in frustration. But you know, that just means he was growing, he was learning, and he was thoroughly engaged. Gabe stayed fully engaged throughout his career. For many years, he volunteered to represent custodial maintenance and other support staff as a member of the FCEA. He would stay long after his normal workday was over to attend the meetings. He kept us informed of the issues, and he worked for the benefit of us all. And I think it was this extra work that signaled the development of another aspect of Gabriel Fernandez. Gabe has dignity. He's secure in his sense of belonging here. He's happy in his own skin. Now, I know it's hard for a maintenance man to look dignified. I've been there. You're schlepping down the hall. You got channel lock pliers in one pocket, a four-way screwdriver in the other. You got your walkie-talkie, your cell phone, and your flashlight on your belt. and all the keys clipped to your belt loop. You're carrying the ladder, and all that weight keeps tugging your pants down. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But Gabe's dignity didn't come from looking dignified. It's much deeper than that. It starts with wanting to be a part of something bigger than yourself, something good, something that you can be proud of. It comes from contributing to that, pulling your weight, doing your part day after day. And it comes from the people around you that recognize your effort and appreciate what you do for them and for the betterment of the whole big system that you work so hard to be part of. This public school system is something big, something good, something we should all be proud of, and it's something that he's worked so hard to be a part of. It's the gratitude that he received from all of you is what allowed him to give himself the sense of belonging, the dignity that will always allow him to hold his head high and know that he's made a difference here. He's played a vital role in the education of all the children that have passed through here in the last 22 years. But he's so much more than a highly skilled technician. He has embraced the intrinsic value of working in education, so much so that he's passed it on to his 2 children, who are now both teachers. So you see, the family Fernandez come to America with hope and determination to make a better life. And they give rise to Honest Gabe, who, with his wife, give rise to 2 beautiful people that become teachers, like the very folks that Gabe worked so hard to support. And by my measure, that is an American success story. But Gabe, the story doesn't stop now that you're retiring. Welcome to the golden years. You're about to enter a time of such freedom like you have never known. I recently heard someone compare it to like being a teenager, only better. Because there's no curfew. You get to sleep in any day that you want to. You got a nice car, a nice home. You can buy your own beer. And best of all, you finally get a decent allowance. Every month. Direct deposit. It's in the bank. Boom. You're golden. So stop, smell all the roses, and enjoy everything you worked so hard for. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Planas, and I'm a Spanish teacher at George Mason High School, and I'm here tonight this afternoon to talk about Janice Nettie. As many of you know, before Janice Nettie was a Mason Mustang, she was and always will be a Hokie. Not surprisingly, Janice has lived by Virginia Tech's motto, Ut Prosim, which in Latin means that I may serve. This motto sums up the way Janice has worked and volunteered at Mason for so many wonderful years. Students and staff alike have benefited from her selfless acts of service to our school and community, so much so that many of us at Mason have asked, what can't Janice Nettie do? Whether volunteering for our community, coaching students, making costumes for drama department, volunteering at robotics or on music trips, or working with our staff to improve systems, Janice looks at the big picture and automatically knows what smaller steps need to be taken in order to get the job done effectively and efficiently. When she saw the need to start a swim team at Mason back in 2004, she dove into action, solving logistical issues like, we got to find a pool. Got to talk about that. Organizing practices and converting the club eventually to an actual team, attending meets, coaching, and of course, being the team's energetic #1 fan. From 2004 to 2015, hundreds of high school swimmers have participated because Janice Nettie started the swim club at George Mason. Athletic Director Julie Braven refers to Janice as her rock and as the person who got the swim program off the ground and made it the success it is today. Again, is there anything you can't do, Janice? You may not know this, but back in college where Janice met her husband, Kurt, she was in the show choir at Virginia Tech. The choir was called the New Virginians. Janice sang and danced, and her husband, Kurt, played lead trumpet. Maybe her love of dancing was what inspired her to coach Mason's dance team for 5 years. In college, Janice and Kurt had time to get to know each other, and as you might guess, after all that prancing and dancing and playing music in the Virginians, they fell in love, got married, and started a family. Their 3 sons attended Mason, and like their mom, actively participated in sports, clubs, and music, especially music. Janice and Kurt have been integral to the success of the music department. They served as chaperones for years, not only on long-distance trips such as bus trips to Myrtle Beach and Orlando, but also district assessments to cheer on the band. Whether it was lugging heavy percussion to sight reading rooms or providing emotional support, the Netties were always there. Miss West tells the story that one day, Janice asked if she could digitize the band's library. This means retyping 1,500 pieces of music into a spreadsheet and numbering and finding details about the performance of each piece. It was a monumental task that Janice took upon herself to plan, start, and finish. Remember that hokey motto, that I may serve? This is just another example of Janice's selflessness and willingness to find a way to make things better. Janice holds herself to extremely high standards in all she does. As you may know, she's a gifted seamstress. Her artistry and knowledge of all things related to sewing were the reason why Mason's students' costumes in productions from 2000 to 2008 were so beautiful. Janice spent several years in charge of costumes for the musicals, sewing countless pieces and making sure each student looked spectacular on stage. Who can forget, those of us that have been around for a while, the gorgeous costumes that she made for Beauty and the Beast, as well as sewing the banner for the robotics team. Speaking of robotics, everyone knows that Janice is the #1 fan and volunteer for Mason's first robotics team, Vivictus. Rather than tell you about it, I'm just going to show you a picture. Take a look, or at pictures. Janice's knack for design and creating goes well beyond those costumes and the banner that she made for us. Her beautiful quilt work has graced our front office wall and was a focal point for a year until the gorgeous red and black quilt was raffled off to help support the robotics team. Janice's quilt raised over $1,300 for the team. This is the second time that she's done this. It's like some of us think, hey, there's got to be an app for that. Janice thinks, I think there's a quilt for that. She's supported the team since the robotics team since its inception in 2005, helping create the Vivictus, or Woe to the Vanquished, symbol, attending the majority of competitions. And if that wasn't enough, she became a registered mentor for the team in 2011 and has continued in that role to this day. Janice is a master quilter. For anyone who sews knows, quilting is an art form. It requires vision, creativity, patience, ability to measure small and large parts while being attentive to so many important details along the way. If we had to sum up what Janice's work has meant to all of us at George Mason High School, it would look like a colorful quilt. As an administrative assistant to the assistant principal, she's created the Hitching Post, our weekly faculty newsletter that highlights upcoming events, offers interesting professional reading, and celebrates faculty milestones. Janice set up and integrated a system at school to monitor student discipline concerns, which I'm sure they're thrilled about. Sorry. and has worked closely with administrators to keep that system up to date. Much like a quilter who uses scraps of material from here and there, who knows how that fabric might be sewn together to form something more beautiful, Janice has worked diligently to create systems that will be in place for many years to come. Like a quilter, she has brought organization to those challenging times during the school year, like IB testing season, where she has helped piece together all the many moving parts with and for our IB coordinators and students. Janice, your work has been much like a quilter's. The bindings and backing you've stitched are strong. The colors you've selected are vibrant, and the quilt's artistry expresses beauty and integrity. We will miss you, but you have left an inspirational legacy. Thank you for the years of service and for your spirit of volunteerism. Can you please come forward?
It's been my pleasure, everyone. It's been a really wonderful place to work.
A photographic essay, The Master of the Hats. John is truly the master of hats. True, the fedora hat. But at George Mason, he wears so many hats. Like the teacher hat, John has taught classes, IB Art, IB Film, Computer Graphics, Robotics, so many we can hardly name them. He has a skill set unlike any other. And then there's the robotics hat, the stage crew hat, the auditorium hat, the makerspace hat, the tech hat, the artist hat. It's just actually hard to define what Job's job actually is at George Mason because it's always expanding and it's always covering new territory, much of it through his own initiative. And though we may not have time to discuss all of the details of John's 36-year career tonight, we do know one thing for sure. John's ambition has been nothing short of Herculean, his legacy etched in the lives of so many. John started in 1981. He's been a teacher at Mason for 36 years. This rivals the all-time record of English teacher Michael Hoover. That's one GMH record John missed by 1 year, but he did create another. His beautiful wife, Tam, and he are the only married couple in the history of GM to win the coveted Washington Post's Agnes Meyer Outstanding Teacher Award, John in 1997 and Tam in 1982. Now, back to the haberdashery. Let's start with the robotics hat. Daniel Nettie writes, in 2004, Mr. Ballou started the first robotics team. My brother Alex, who I had in band, was a member of that first robotics team, and he remembers how with only a few members and no idea what they were doing, Mr. Ballou made them into a team. He taught them that simple solutions could sometimes be the best. So they used a wooden cane to lift the robot during competition. They won the Rookie Team of the Year award that year. But Daniel wrote, the award Mr. Ballou probably cherishes the most is the Gracious Professionalism Award. It was a true honor to be recognized by other teams for displaying the values he taught us. With this nomination, John went on to receive the prestigious Woody Flowers Award. This award recognizes robotics mentors who lead, inspire, and empower. John couldn't be a bigger fan of his robotics team. Many times when he comes back from competition, he has absolutely no voice left. He sends emails to all of the faculty, beaming with pride about his enthusiasm for his students and their success. Ty Bird writes, he shares two events. He said, every time we have the great fortune to enjoy a snow day, I knew that someone would be breaking into the building. John and his team dutifully arrived at the school and masterfully entered the closed and locked building and continued to work on the robot. The next favorite that Ty shares is, I recall a time when I watched his team address a malfunction. The team worked collaboratively to identify the problem, offer, consider, and select solutions, assign tasks, complete the work, and reflect on the results, all the while John facilitated. He made a subtle suggestion here. He asked a question here and there. It always was encouraging and challenging. Ty writes, "That's teaching in my book." And he thanks John for all the work he's done for the GMH student body. 2 words, stage God. Definition, John's role in the auditorium. The stage crew believes that perhaps John doesn't have a house and that he sleeps in the nest in the rafter of the auditorium. It just makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, how else could he single-handedly assemble a set overnight? Like build an entire house on wheels for Oklahoma, which required 3 or 4 people to move it. With 2 major productions a year, that's about 70 productions he's done in his tenure. Sean Northrop comments, John's painting of the rooftops of Paris in Phantom of the Opera was some of the most beautiful scenery he has ever seen. John's always here working to make our lights and sets amazing. And what about the special effects? Like in Phantom, when they threw a very large log off the catwalk. Or tonight, when we're flooding the MEH cafeteria with dry ice, one of John's favorite effects. And you know, if you don't have dry ice, you can always use a fire extinguisher. But then again, shh, some things are a secret. John has so many ideas in the back of his head. Often on a holiday or during summer, I always see John's gray van, license plate first 1418. I look into his classroom, "Hey John, what you doing?" And he says something like, "Oh, I'm reimaging the entire classroom of my 7-year-old computers," as if it's nothing. Many a student has found a home in John's classes, whether it's the blue monkey on a unicycle, or it's the dinosaur skull hanging above the computers. Students lose themselves in computer screens as they design models and all types of 3D drawing. Bob Schnee writes, John has been called, quite appropriately, a Renaissance man, a jack of all trades. Few people have contributed as much to the holistic education of Falls Church students as John Ballou. His greatest legacy is that for 36 years, makes me want to cry, he has inspired countless adolescents to do what he does, embrace learning, and experiment without fear of failure or criticism. But every now and then you get this look. What does it mean? Well, maybe he's thinking something he's not saying, or maybe you've piqued his interest, or maybe you should already know the answer, but you actually really don't know. Always the master of explanation, John never loses an opportunity to share knowledge. Like last weekend, the stage crew was working on the Kinsk Ballet, and while the show was going on, all the stage crew were on headsets, and he was giving them a lecture on the history of art and modern ballet. You just never know when it's going to happen. John is the master, and sure, a lot of us teachers have seen his extensive doodles. Usually these occur during faculty meetings. Every now and then his phone goes off. Despite the fact he is doodling, he is paying closer attention than anybody else in the room. Often when John speaks, it's an acknowledgement of previous comments. Principal Bob Sneeze says, I always welcome John's contributions because they cause us to pause, expand our thinking, and move in new and different directions. So John, as you look to the future, remember the VPA motto, once in the VPA, always in the VPA. And as you continue thinking about hopefully continuing to do the technical director EPED for next year, remember the Eagles. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. The VPA faculty, well, we all have artistic temperaments. We all march to the beat of our own drummers. But at the end of the day, we are family. We care about each other in ways that go beyond being colleagues. Even when poison ivy strikes and we're trying to move a colleague into a new home, So at the end of the day, we have always stuck together. True friends do that. So I look to old Blue Eyes as I close this speech. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has naught. To say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows he took the blows. He did it his way. John Bravo, standing ovation on a truly inspired career.
After that.
We'd like to thank Michael Murphy and Chris Marcus for the amazing stage effects tonight, and Colin Wood for the amazing. These are actually done by a student. The photographs.
I had no idea that was going on. I just wanted to say how much at home I felt here at this school. And, you know, it's hard to say goodbye, so I'm not. I'm going to continue to work next year and do what I can to make the transition work. At the same time, you know, it's, you know, I have always felt like I belonged, but they have given me such latitude to do everything that we've ever tried to initiate, and I couldn't have done it without my peers and how much I have loved and respected all the students I've had. So thank you.
I want to file a formal protest for whoever put the order of this together. Now I have to follow all that. See me later, whomever you are. So stop me, Jamie, if you've heard this one, but okay, sorry. Oh, thank you. If a baseball and a bat cost $1.10 together, and the bat costs $1 more than the baseball, how much did the ball cost? You don't have to answer that. Anurag knows it. What is it, Anurag? There you go. He had it too. I think he beat you. Great work. Philosopher George Santayana defined knowledge as a recognition of something absent. It is a salvation and an embrace. Tonight we gather to celebrate the people that inspire us to perpetually seek this salvation, the people that find methods to help others connect with themselves and the global community for the betterment of the collective. Jamie Scharf is one of these people. It has been my great fortune to have known Jamie for almost a decade now. During this time, I have found him to be a thoughtful, caring, devoted, and passionate advocate for others and stalwart guide in the never-ending pursuit of knowledge. Jamie and I ran across each other in the main office a few weeks ago. Fortunately, it was the main office and not on the road where he tends to run over things on his bike. He's Mr. Invincible, that one. A few days later, he asked if I might be willing to share a few words on his behalf at this event. I told him that I would be honored, but inside I was a little bit scared. I feel woefully inadequate to speak to such a great and auspicious career. After a few minutes, I decided it would be wise if I looked to others to help me produce this speech. I spoke first to Julie Braven. She helped me connect with his counterparts in the Scholastic Bowl community. We heard from Tom and Barbara from Clark County, Dave from Rappahannock, and Melissa from Central Woodstock. Collectively, this cohort is appreciative of Jamie's perpetual support for not only the members of his team, but for every scholar athlete in the Bull Run District. Lori calls Jamie a special person who is both highly respected and extremely successful. She reports that the Eagles have had their heads handed to them. I guess that's a Scholastic Bowl term. Football, we use a different one. Had their heads handed to them on many occasions while Jamie was the coach. Tom also said from Clark County, says that while Jamie and the Mustangs are the team they most want to beat, they are also the team with whom they feel the most connection to. Tom attributes this to Jamie's commitment to modeling of values of sportsmanship, fair play, goodwill, and collegiality for students throughout the Bull Run. Dave from Rappahannock, who does not fully believe that Jamie is retiring and fully expects you to see you behind your team next year, credits Jamie for the success that his team has enjoyed. He says, Rap has won 2 state championships, and Dave thanks Jamie and Mason for showing them how to prepare and compete against the best. Melissa from Central calls Jamie the guru of Scholastic Bowl. You should put that on a hat. Not a red and white one, though. And she has always admired his tough and competitive style. Lori from Clark said this: the competition was always fierce, but at the end of the night, my students would always comment on how much they respected and truly liked the members of the George Mason team and their coach. I wish Jamie would have been there to hear the conversations that we had on bus rides home from various competitions, because he would have been so proud of how well his team are thought of, and he would have been embarrassed by the multitude of comments that were said about him in particular. Jamie has cheered the successes of his George Mason Scholastic Bowl teams, but he also supported and cheered the successes of other schools in our district and our region. Over the years, George Mason Scholastic Bowl has been a measuring stick that we have used to determine how strong a team we have put together. I can honestly say that George Mason has helped us develop into a better and more competitive Scholastic Bowl team because we wanted to be able to hold our own against Jamie's. Lori says that she will miss you. She will miss your guidance and friendship that you have developed over 11 years of competition. His presence will be deeply missed. She wishes you all the best as you approach your next adventures in life. In addition to the work Jamie has done as a coach, he has also served as an exceptional classroom educator and professional colleague. My next outreach was to his students and members of his teams. Thanks to Anurag, Ross, Crawford, and Asher, who is no longer welcome in my home. My girlfriend's in love with you. Stay away. Those guys came over and we had a nice dinner together, broke in a new grill, and we talked about Jamie and the things that he's done for each of them. They call you the genuine article. And they describe the Sharfathons. If you don't know what a Sharfathon is, I didn't, which is a day where you have him for 2 classes, and then you also come to him later on in the day for Scholastic Bowl practice. That's a Sharfathon. In each of these settings, Mr. Sharf inspired students to deeply challenge their own ways of thinking and to proactively confront personal biases. He made himself available for, during, and after school to engage anyone interested in chatting, and he spoke to his students the same way he spoke to his colleagues. They really appreciate that. Always with respect and with interest. Bus rides to matches were particularly enjoyable and enlightening. His students recall electing to sit close to one another, even though there was ample room on the bus for them to spread out. During these conversations, Jamie and others would argue points and make participants think deeply, and he compelled everyone to carefully examine topics and vigorously defend their positions. Jamie, one of your students described you as the last teacher to blow my mind. You showed your students that you cared as you thoughtfully helped them view complex issues from varied perspectives. You created environments where it was safe to be a dissident, a role that you often filled yourself, even when that role did not suit your personal opinions or views. Your students report that you made them better people. Asher said that it is safe not to know with you, but it is never okay to be comfortable in your thinking. He said that you helped him confront his thoughts regarding a complex topic in such a way that you helped him change his mind on that topic. He thought that was settled law within himself. You changed that in him. While Asher is impressed that you helped him navigate this change, he is more impressed of the extent to which that change occurred. Because of you, Asher is now a Jet fan. The only one I know. Well, congrats on that. So Jamie, students are comforted by the knowledge that while you were once solely their teacher and coach, you are now and will continue to be their mentor and friend. Your commitment to lifelong engagement is evidenced by your willingness to stay connected with your students via Facebook and personal gatherings that, through description, remind me of the salon during the Renaissance. In these settings, you don't attempt to change people's minds, but encourage participants to challenge the way they think once again. To your beautiful family, Karen and Emma, I say thanks on behalf of everyone who's worked with Jamie or been a student in his class. Thanks to each of you for understanding and supporting him as he answered the call of educator. Karen, I know that you serve in this capacity as well. Thank you for your service to students as well. And Emma, I know that you are undoubtedly an engaged student. I can remember the Saturdays we spent at It's Academic when you were little. You probably don't remember. Lots of Saturdays, good stuff. Emma, I know that Jamie and I have talked a little bit about how he helps to support you during school. I can only imagine what it's like to be a teacher of you, and Jamie shows up at back to school night. Pretty challenging. Please be patient with him. He is there to advocate on your behalf, and probably behalf of every kid in the school. Being an educator requires much, but that expense pales by comparison to the benefits one derives. Jamie, know that as you move on to the next chapter in your life, that you have positively influenced the lives of a community that we can't quantify. Your dedication to others and the craft of teaching has inspired a generation and made the world a better place. As for me, thanks for helping me measure my enthusiasm in a way that celebrates my glass half full approach to life. You taught me to serve with compassion and to lead through a genuine desire to support the ambitions of those we serve. I wasn't certain I could do the job of principal at George Mason High School, Jamie, but you helped me see that I could. You see things in people that they sometimes fail to appreciate in themselves. Author Doris Lessing said, "That is what learning is. You suddenly understand something you've understood all your life, but in a new way." Before I leave you tonight, please allow me to share the words of a friend and admirer, a longtime friend and admirer of Jamie's. All of us at It's Academic want to salute Jamie Sharp for his retirement, but we do so with mixed feelings, as we know we are going to miss him. In his many years as a coach of the George Mason It's Academic team, he has set a very high standard. In addition to a commitment to learning and academic achievement, he has instilled in his students a respect for discipline, perseverance, sportsmanship, and cooperation. It's Academic has now been on the air for over 50 years, and its success is due in no small part to the dedication of coaches like Jamie Sharp. It's because of him and coaches like him all across the metropolitan area that our contestants are really winners. We send him our warmest wishes on this special occasion, signed Susan Lechner. Congratulations, Jamie. You are appreciated and you will be sorely missed. Congratulations.
It's been a labor of love for my students and for my colleagues, and it's all been mutual, so it's been a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Last but certainly not least. In the spring of 2007, I moved to Northern Virginia from New York City and was searching for a counseling job without much luck. I knew since it was already May, I was late to the game. Somehow, I stumbled upon a posting for a counselor at George Mason High School and applied immediately. I came home one day to the friendliest voicemail asking if I would be able to come in for an interview. From that first voicemail and every day since, Amy Kurjanowicz has put me at ease with her kind, gentle, and friendly demeanor. She is not only a colleague, but a wonderful friend and confidant to me and so many others whose lives she's touched. Amy has been nothing short of amazing. She is constantly looking for the best ways to support the students and the staff at Mason and works tirelessly all year long. Our department is truly a family, with Amy being our matriarch, and I will miss her tremendously. Since Amy's impact has been felt far beyond the counseling office, we didn't want ours to be the only voices to speak on her behalf, so we reached out to those who are near and dear to Amy. Here are some thoughts from Debbie Flanagan, Nancy Goldman, Ellie Hawksworth, Suzanne Planas, Marcia Schumann, Nisha Sen Sharma, Karen Tooze, Mary Jo West, and Jenny York. Amy, you can try to figure out who said what. Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Amy was one of those people. No matter who she was with, they were the focus and center of her attention. She makes us all feel special. She is truly irreplaceable. Every issue is addressed and every question and email answered. But most importantly, Amy always made me feel I had her support both personally and professionally, and would do what she could to catch me if I fell. She would be the soft landing. Amy is the master scheduling juggler who works diligently to make sure our students have the classes they need in order to move forward academically. There is no puzzle she cannot solve. She is the keen observer who looks to resolve problems and is the empathetic listener who always has time to help us make decisions. Amy's door is always open, as is her kind heart. When I met Amy, she was the Alt Ed program coordinator working with students who had some of the biggest disadvantages. Yet she loved each of them for their strengths, and she never let them for 1 minute think they would not be successful. This part of Amy's professional and personal fundamental belief system has not changed one bit. Amy believes every child will succeed, and she has made it her life's work to make that happen. Amy is a consummate professional with a heart of gold. Each decision she made, question she asked, or action she took has always been with the best interest of the students in the building. She epitomizes the spirit and love of Mason. I have come to think of Amy as a person who can solve all problems. I know I can count on her to give an honest opinion and to keep conversations confidential. She has been my sounding board for all issues. Regardless of what was happening at the time, I always knew that if I walked into Amy's office, I would get two things. One, I would be greeted with a huge smile, and two, I would be heard. No matter the amount of work on her plate or the seemingly insignificance of my question, she would always turn around in her t-shirt covered chair and invite me to sit down, to chat. As director of counseling, Amy has been truly a consummate counselor with her outstanding skills and compassionate heart, a heart as big as a golf umbrella. Her love for her work shows through in everything she does and says for her students, their families, the staff, and the Falls Church community. Amy's concern for all the students has been evident since she arrived. She created an amazing alternative ed program. Her care and concern for some of our neediest students was remarkable. She provided a safe and secure environment for students who rarely felt safe or secure. Most importantly, she helped them believe in their own abilities to succeed. When they added their names to her tree mural upon graduation, they were confident they could tackle the next phase of their lives. This same care and concern benefited the entire Mason community when she became director of counseling. Her door is open to all of us. She listens and hears our problems and questions and responds patiently and knowledgeably. When Amy told me she was thinking of retiring this year, my heart sank. It was strictly selfishness on my part. Amy is more often than not one of the first people I see early each morning. We have our own personal counseling session. We take those few minutes each morning to serve as a touchstone to anchor our day. She's my confidant and my friend. We have this common bond. We love what we do, the faculty, the students, and the friendships we formed. When Amy signed her papers a few weeks ago, I know she did it with a heavy heart. It's always daunting to venture out into the next phase of one's life, but Amy has worked hard and is very much deserving of all the benefits retirement can bring. I'll miss seeing her smile, her willingness to help, her compassion, her dedication, her enthusiasm at the beginning of the school year, her exhaustion at the end, her talent for listening, but most of all, our early morning visits. It was our routine, a habit, and we all know habits are hard to break.
The first thing I want to tell you guys is I'm not a hugger. It's not because I wasn't loved as a child or anything like that. I have my own issues to work out. But the reason I'm telling you this is because over the last 11 years, outside of my wife and my children and my mother, I've probably hugged Amy more times than anybody else. In previous years, I always got at least two. At the end of the school year, Amy would give me a hug before I left. And then when I came back from the summer break, she would give me another hug. But since she announced her retirement, I've had more hugs than I can imagine. It's been a lot. But all this hugging, it makes a lot of sense to me because since I first came to George Mason in 2006, I've sort of looked at Amy as like my surrogate mom. And I could not have asked for a better person to nurture me as I learned how to become a high school counselor in this wonderful, complicated community. Over the years, Amy did for me what all great moms do for their children. She provided me with advice and wisdom. She set an excellent example to follow. She instilled confidence in me. She made me feel important and trusted. She put me in my place when it was necessary, and believe me, it has been necessary. She was loyal and protective, but most awesomely, as she has to the thousands of students she's worked with and the many colleagues she's had, she gave me love. And for that, I'm forever grateful. And now I'd like to share some words of the two principals who were here for the vast majority of Amy's time at George Mason. For those who know Bob Sneed, you know he was a great speaker, so as I'm saying this, imagine Bob saying it, but in a much better way. From her first day in FCCPS as the teacher director of alternative education, Amy demonstrated a deep understanding of high school students and all that they experience, cope with, and struggle through. As a staff of one working in a remote location away from the GM campus, she had to be teacher, counselor, administrator, custodian, and security guard every day. The fact that many days could go by without school administrators worrying about alt ed attests to the fact that we had the perfect person running that program. But it also told us that her talents could affect so many more if we brought her to the GM campus. So we did. In the same way that she demonstrated perfection in her role at Alt Ed, so she did in the roles of counselor and then director of counseling for the entire high school. I recall many instances where Amy, ever the champion of students, used her abundant reservoir of patience, insight, knowledge, skill, compassion, and sense of humor to steer students and often their parents to the right decisions when the path seemed very uncertain, doubt-filled, and strewn with obstacles. Amy is as soft as cotton and as tough as nails. And the beauty of it is that she always knows how much of each demeanor to work into any situation to get the best result. Any counselor who had the privilege of working with Amy received daily lessons on how to do things right, but more importantly, they were always shown how to do the right thing. And now Ty Bird, who somehow managed to invoke the Yankees in his comments, but I'm not going to acknowledge that. That's true, she is a Yankee fan. He says, theologian Albert Schweitzer said the purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion in the will to help others. Amy lives by this admonition. Her initials are ASK, Amy Sue Kurjanowicz. Have any initials ever been more appropriate? She dedicated her professional life to supporting others. Professionally, she will always be remembered for her work as a dutiful, supportive, and encouraging advocate for students and colleagues alike. She is especially adept at recognizing and supporting those most in need. During my years as a member of the George Mason family, I asked Amy to serve as steward to our most complex situations because I had complete confidence in her capacity to do what was right. By right, I don't mean by the book. I mean what is right. Amy always did what was right for this child. She ignored the clutter and focused on the needs of the child. Her work as a support resource for colleagues is no less impressive. Amy is an unwavering professional partner and friend. Her superior ability to listen and, more importantly, to truly hear the needs of a person makes her an invaluable member of any community. This is especially true in a school setting where the stresses of life can be all-consuming. Amy is constantly visited by colleagues in need of a ready ear and willingly denies personal needs to support a colleague. All that is needed is to ask. Just ask Amy and she will listen. She will hear, and she will be present in your time of need, always. Amy, thanks for your years of service. And if you want to come up here, I'll give you one more hug.
I'll make this really brief because there's a basketball game ready to begin. But first of all, I can't thank Brad and Val enough. I can't thank our entire department enough. It's very difficult to make this decision to retire when you love what you do day in and day out. And that's why I've had such difficulty. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you, Lois. Thank you, Tony, who's not here right now. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Matt. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But also, thank you to each one of you for everything that you do. Thank you for making me feel so welcome in Falls Church. I love it here. I absolutely love it here. And I will take all this with me, and I am here for everybody till August 31st. But I will always give my email and hope to hear from you and wish all of you the best. I know that we're under great leadership right now, Matt, Kevin, Dr. Noonan, and just let's keep taking it forward. Let's continue to do the wonderful things that we've always loved about Falls Church for our students. And let's be a big family and a big team. We can do it. Go Mustangs.
What a night. There are few opportunities for leaders to have a chance to have such powerful moments in their career, and to be able to be a part of this retirement ceremony this evening, and to celebrate alongside of you is one of those moments for me. I've been to a lot of retirement ceremonies, and this is by far the best. And I think what makes it the best is the absolute joy and thrill and hearing from all of the people and the great stories that they told. So on behalf of the students, faculty, staff, administrators, and the entire Falls Church community, thank you for all that you have done for the generations of students that you've taken care of. Congratulations on reaching this important milestone in your life. We hope that you come back to visit us soon and enjoy every single day of your retirement. When that check hits that when it hits that, bam, right into that account. There it is. I want to take just a second. We had someone join us, Mr. Lawrence Webb, who is our chair of the board. Thank you for joining us as well. And again, congratulations to all of you. To your families, we want to say congratulations to you. We also know the sacrifice that it takes to support school people in long careers. We have unusual hours, we have unusual circumstances, but without your support and your help, the folks that are here tonight wouldn't have been able to succeed to the level that they have. So part of this evening is a celebration of you, but to our retirees, congratulations again. I'd like to invite up all of our honorees for one group picture. If you would please join us up here, and thank you all very much for coming this evening.